What is going on, guys? Zuko back with another Dragonflight video for Enhancement Shaman here. We're going to talk about the single target build. And a lot of interesting points that I want to make here. This is specifically for raid. So I've talked about like Mythic Plus and adapting your build a little bit depending on the situation to try and help you in like tyrannical weeks or single target boss fights and what talents you might take. This is strictly like a raid build. This is almost entirely single target, except there is quite a few bosses in Vault of the Incarnates that have AoE components to them. So, like, Senarth has ads for a huge majority of the time. Even Aranog, the first boss, has some ads. There's ads on Razaget, the final boss, of course. So, there's a lot of variation there. And the build that I'm going to provide for you today is just going to be one that is going to serve you well in every single fight that you will come across in Vault of the Incarnates. Realistically, though, you need to be modifying this tree depending on the boss fight. So, for example, oh, sorry about that. I just got a sub. For example, if you're fighting Taros, which is a single target boss fight. Oh, this is Sepulchre. I don't know why it's there. We need to go to Dragonflight. Oh, goodness. Here we go. So, if you're taking on Taros, this guy is pure single target. There are no ads at all on Taros. You are going to need to modify a couple things on this tree. For example, Lashing Flames might not be the best. It's still okay, actually, in single target, but like certainly Crashing Storms could probably get changed into something else. But yeah, these are one of the two main ones you could modify. You could, that's about it. There might be, potentially Hailstorm could change, but realistically you need to get down to Hot Hand. So probably Lashing Flames and Crashing Storms could potentially change. So just be aware, the build I'm giving you right now is one that includes the most popular buttons that you're going to want to take into the raid environment. So I've done a lot of research on different builds, been looking at Subcreation quite a bit, which is a really good website. If you don't know, subcreation.net is a really good website that will show you some of the most popular builds that are being taken into raids, into Mythic Plus, all that stuff. One thing that's common across the most popular builds for raid is that they include Windrush Totem on the left side here, and they include AG, Ancestral Guidance. So those are really, really big on the class side. A really quick note about the class side. What I love about a Shaman in general is that you can just change whatever you want here depending on the content that you're doing. So for Raid, you don't need Cleanse Spirit. You don't need Cap Totem. You don't need Tremor Totem or Hex or Purge or Greater Purge. You just don't need so many of those things. So it allows you to flex your build and move over towards a lot of extra healing for the raid, which is really good. Healing Stream Totem, Swirling Currents, and AG in particular are very strong, helpful healing tools you can bring to your group. So I would go for a tree that's set up something like this, but again, depending on the fight, you might need a Purge, you might need a Cap Totem for all the ads on Razagat, let's say, for example. You might need, insert X ability and go. So be ready to modify your build. On the spec side of things, the most popular talents that are taken are, of course, Elemental Spirits. So there really isn't like a physical build that works extremely well in Raid right now. It's really dominated by the elemental builds. So you're going to take Elemental Spirits, most popular. Hailstorm's incredibly popular. And Splintered Elements is almost always taken in these builds. So this talent setup is what I'm going to link in the description down below. It is going to be like the most popular way probably to play this build. It does include Wind Fury Totem for your group, so unfortunately, if you hate putting this sucker down, then I'm sorry about that, but it is going to be included in this build. Again, a couple talents you might want to swap out, maybe Lashing Flames, maybe Crashing Storms, maybe even Sundering. In single target encounters, Sundering, it's okay, but 22,000 damage every 40 seconds, there's probably a better talent somewhere that you could take in here that might perform better for you. So maybe even just Wind Fury Totem, but here's why these buttons are really important. Primordial Wave in particular is generally speaking thought of as an AoE tool, right? It's really, really good for AoE cleave. These boss fights, some of them have AoE cleave, and you're gonna work on that when you're gonna work on maximizing your Primordial Wave cleaving to get the biggest haste buff you can possibly get. But even on single target, this is good because it gives you 10 stacks of Maelstrom Weapon and it gives you 10% haste. Right now, our stats are really bad. My stats are horrific. I only have 17% haste right now. Like, it's really, really bad. So getting the 10% haste buff every 45 seconds is a really big deal, and getting 10 stacks of Maelstrom Weapon is huge for your dogs. You want your dogs out as much as you possibly can. It's so important to have your dogs up all the time. So this helps to facilitate that. Hailstorm also will generate a bunch of extra Maelstrom weapon stacks because of Swirling Maelstrom, sorry. And of course, Ice Strike does the same. It's guaranteed, actually, to give you a stack of Maelstrom weapons. So very, very good to have that there as well. So this is a general build that I think is going to serve you quite well in any raid content here. And I'm going to show you what it looks like on the dummies right here, and then we're going to get to some footage. So just going to give you a quick guide here on how to set this up. So put your Wind Fury totem down before the fight even starts. You're going to start with Wolves, Primordial Wave, and then you're going to go. I am going to do this with Lust just to show you what it's like on pull. So Wolves, Primordial Wave, and we go. Okay, we're going to do Ice Strike for a sec just to generate. Here we go. We got a Hot Hand proc. That's what we're looking for. I like to use Lava Burst whenever we can because it's quite strong. But this is it. We're just going, guys. This is the build. Again, my item level right now is only 375. So just keep that in mind. I don't have a ton of eye level on this guy yet. This is an alt character for me. Dogs are back. Let's get him up. Let's get going. Get as much damage as we can. We got an Ice Dog and a Lightning Dog. So let's try and cast Lightning Bolt. Get some Storm Strikes in there. If you have a Hot Hand proc, you really do need to press it because it just does so much damage. It's crazy. Okay. Primordial Wave's back. There we go. Press the Lightning Bolt. I'm just making sure I press my Lava Lashes every single time. And when you get a Hot Hand proc, you got to press Lava Lash. It's very important. Dogs are back again. That's the main rotation there, guys. It's quite simple. We got a Fire Dog this time and a Lightning Dog. But you don't really need to modify your spells depending on which dog you get. Just press your abilities and do as much damage as you can, okay? Hot Hand proc again at the end there. So that's kind of how it looks. Your damage will be, I like pressing Lava Burst. I think it's actually pretty decent. But your Lava Lash is going to be really good. Your Lightning Bolt's going to be really good. And your Flame Shock is going to be really huge on damage as well. So really, really big stuff there. Now, again, one modification I did say that you can do is to change Crashing Storms and Lava Lash. Let's try that right now. I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. Here we go. We'll get rid of this, and we'll get this back. So let's try this build with Elemental Blast. I know lots of you guys are going to be in the comments. You're going to be like, well, what about Elemental Blast? It's like your best single target button. Yep, I agree. It's a very good single target button. Let's try it out. Let's see how it does here. So we ended up doing about 30k overall, right? Give me a second here. I'm gonna wait for 4 minutes, 3 minutes to get my heroism back. So just give me. All right, we're back here with Lust. We're ready to go. We're gonna pump it again. Let's get our totem down. Make sure this is up again. And I do have double Wind Fury up, but again, I don't really think it matters. We've had this discussion in the comments with people. I don't think it makes a difference, but we're just gonna do it anyway. Okay, here we go. We're gonna Lust again. Wolves, Primordial Wave, and we go. Go, 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 go. We have to use Lightning Bolt as our first spender, of course. It's always the way it works. Okay, Ellie Blast. There's a very good chance that this is just better, but there we got a Hot Hand proc, Ellie Blast. We'll have to just see how it goes. You can basically, because you get 2 charges of Ellie Blast now, you can basically use, like, every one of your spenders can be an Ellie Blast. And realistically, it should be, because they benefit from the wolves, right? No matter which wolf you have out, your Elemental Blast is getting extra damage. 40% extra damage, actually. So it's kind of insane. So this is a little modification that we've made here to the build, because this is not the build that sort of is being run on Subcreation and some of the other sites. Make sure we get let's get our wolves up first, then we go Ellie Blast. Boom. So Ellie Blast did more damage there because the dogs are up. Of course. Ellie Blast again, and we're getting down here, but again, the damage is coming down. It's not that crazy. We'll get this Hot Hand proc out of the way, and then we're going to pack it in. So you can see it's not that much different, actually. It's actually just above 30k once again. So it's really up to you guys. I don't think there's that much of a difference, to be honest. Now, maybe I got less procs there on Lava Lash. Who knows? Like, that's a real possibility, but you can see the other build did 29.5k, and this did 28.7k. So actually, no, it's going to change here. Yep, 28.7. So again, it is really reliant on the procs. My Flame Shocks is still ticking, so this is being very annoying right now. But I think whether you get Elemental Blast or not, it's up to you. I lost some Flame Shock damage there because I didn't have Lashing Flames. Okay, so that's... There's cat hair everywhere. Like, I lost some Flame Shock damage there, but I didn't really lose any damage here. A little bit of Crash Lightning damage, but it's not really relevant. So it's up to you guys. It really is up to you. You can get Storm's Wrath and Elemental Blast, or you can go for Lashing Flames and Crashing Storms. I think depending on the fight, right? If there's a more AoE-centric fight, like the Senarth fight or something, then you're going to want to make sure that you get some of the Crashing Storm stuff, because that's going to serve you better when it comes to the AoE damage. So let me turn this on here. I keep looking at my feet, though. This is the Aranog fight here. So let me go fight by fight and just sort of talk about where you might want to change your talents. The Aranog fight does have ads, but the ads die so fast. Even on Heroic, the ads just like evaporate. So as the Enhancement Shaman, you should probably take Elemental Blast here. I would say you could settle for going with Storm's Wrath, Elemental Blast. Don't get Lashing Flames, don't get Crashing Storms for this fight. I think that it's very much better to just get the single target damage, be the guy that's funneling single target damage for your team. If the ads spawn and you've got Primordial Wave up, by all means, do a Primordial Wave into a Lava Lash, spread it around, and get the Lightning Bolt Cleave. Definitely get the Lightning Bolt Cleave, because that'll help you a lot. On the Taros fight, once again, pure single target on Taros. You could actually probably get rid of Sundering and go for Wind Fury, Wind Fury instead, weapon. And you could probably take Elemental Blast here as well. Elemental Blast would be very, very good on Taros. I don't even think you need Lashing Flames or Crashing Storms. Just go for pure single target damage on Taros, because, again, there's just never a single ad. Here's a fight where you might want to have some cleave. Now, I'm at the very end of the Senarth fight, so there's not as many ads spawning. But you can see there's little spiderlings that are alive basically the entire fight. And there's also big ads that spawn, priority ads that have to be killed during the course of this Senarth fight. So just keep that in mind. There is some AoE to this fight, but it's not exactly, it doesn't really matter that much. The little spiderlings don't matter so much. It matters a little bit where they die, but basically the only thing that you're going to want to do here probably is cleave your Primordial Wave. So Primordial Wave one of these guys and then like Lava Lash it, and then make sure there's a Flame Shock on the boss and get a big, juicy Lightning Bolt off on all the spiderlings if you can, and that might be something that you can take advantage of. You could also have taken probably Crashing Storms for that fight as well. For Grim Totem, once again, he is pure single target until you get to the ad phase. So, like, if you go from the ice zone to the fire zone and then you phase the boss, he's going to bring out an ice ad and a fire ad. So there is 2 target cleave, but, like, that's about it. You could keep Sundering is probably a good thing to keep in this fight. I would make sure you have your Hailstorm so that you can proc those. You're going to get extra Maelstrom weapon stack generations and more damage from your Frost Shock with Hailstorm. But I think you could take Elemental Blast here as well. Lashing Flames would get a lot of value here. Having 2 Flame Shocks ticking for double damage is actually significant amounts of damage. But Elemental Blast is also a fine choice. I'm telling you guys, just go whichever way you want to go. Pick Elemental Blast or pick Lashing Flames. Now, this fight, the Council fight, you absolutely need to take Lashing Flames and Crashing Storms. You're not going to take Elemental Blast on this fight because the other 2 abilities are just way, way too strong. Having 4 Flame Shocks ticking for double damage is crazy, crazy amounts of damage on this fight. So definitely make sure you take that. Your Primordial Wave Lightning Bolts are going to cleave here, and it's just going to be outrageous amounts of damage. Make sure that you are pressing that as much as you can. And again, your hot hand procs are going to be happening all the time. You want to just tab target through enemies and hit your Lava Lash to make sure that you're applying the Lashing Flames debuff. Make sure that you're doing that. It's a big part of your damage. So, yeah, this is a pretty stock standard AoE cleave fight. Very, very good for Enhancement Shaman, which has, capped AoE essentially. So, yeah, just a wonderful fight there. I think I end up showing up on the meters. I'm on the meters here now. Once again, remember, most of the people in this raid are on their main specs. I'm on an alt spec here. So doing 85k, 86k overall is actually pretty solid for us on this alt character. Back to Dathia. Dathia, again, is a single target fight. So I think you could pivot over to Elemental Blast once again. Take your Storm's Wrath, take Elemental Blast, and get rid of Lashing Flames and Crashing Storms. This would be a perfect fight for that. There are ads, of course, on this fight, but on the normal version, there isn't ads up on the platform. Now, once you get to the heroic version, I actually think that you should get out of Elemental Blast, and you should take Crashing Storms, and you should take Lashing Flames, because The ad phase on heroic on this fight is so important. You must do it correctly, or else you're going to be screwing your entire team. Like, all the damage that you need to do on this fight is in the ad phase up on the platforms when you get booted up there. So make sure that you flip over to the AoE, the more AoE-centric build when you're doing the heroic version of this fight. So, yeah. That's it, guys. That's kind of all the different bosses I want to talk about, and that's the build that I wanted to show you. I think it's a strong, just general build for raid. Like, in this entire raid, this build that I'm showing you is going to be really, really good no matter what. Again, make some pivots. Go to Elemental Blast for the single target fights. Go to Lashing Flames and Crashing Storms for the single target fights. And I think you're going to be golden. It's really, really strong. It does a lot of damage. So let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. I think Enhancement Shaman is in a great place for raid. Awesome single target damage. Really happy with it. So let me know what you guys think. One last thing here, guys. I forgot to mention the last two bosses. We didn't get to them last night. We're going to finish them off in tonight's raid. So for Broodkeeper Durina, you basically need to figure out if you're on the AoE squad or if you're on the single target squad. So if you're just focusing the boss down, or if you're actually going to go and deal with the ads, because there are two groups in that fight. So again, depending on the build, if you're going to deal with ads, you're going to want Lashing Flames, Crashing Storms. If you're doing single target damage, you're going to want Elemental Blast, okay? And on the last boss, Razagath, again, I do think that there's a mix of single target and AoE damage here. I think primarily it's going to be better to go Lashing Flames plus Crashing Storms. I think it's just going to be better. There's a lot of damage that needs to happen on the platforms for the ads that you're dealing with in P2. You got to make sure that you're dealing with all those ads. So I think that's going to be where it's more important to have the extra AoE damage as opposed to the extra single target damage. So those are my thoughts on all the different raids, the bosses currently in the current raid, and yeah, how you want to deal with them as Enhancement Shaman on single target build. Again, this is a general build that will work. There's just a couple talents that you could pivot around. So thank you guys so much again for watching. I love you all. I will see you in the next one.